Back again with another edition of Breakfast with the Beards, and sadly we're not eating breakfast, we're just enjoying some coffee, but I'm joined by my good buddy Brett Roberts. Brett, how you doing this morning?
I can smell some breakfast
I know, somebody's having a nice breakfast. It literally showed up just now, and now I'm really hungry.
Starving. I'm doing well, though.
Keith Toms joining us, the man, the myth, the legend. You may know Keith as the keyboardist from the brilliant band called The Walrus.
Yes, or
right.
Just Walrus.
Walrus, I'm sorry, Walrus. But Keith is also a good buddy of mine who we have some good history together, working together, but he's doing some really cool things at one of the largest hotel chains in the world that we're going to get into in a second. But I wanted to recap yesterday. We had a pretty epic day. So we started off in Nashville, had some really good conversations with some of the Splunk Trust members, which is pretty cool. They came on with their Fez hats, and it was totally awesome. But on the way, we were driving from Nashville to Memphis, not our longest drive by any means, but we got all the work done, and then we were driving on the road really uninspired. And so we reached out to some of our friends on social, and we sent out some notes to Twitter and asked for music. And man, did Twitter respond.
Oh, wow, yeah, they deliver. Juliana, Splunk, Rob Hout, Nicole Sweeney, all of you, thanks for responding and giving us some great tunes to listen to.
I think the highlight was Play That Funky Music, White Boy, which, spoke to me because I am a white boy and I do like that funky music.
Yeah, we rocked out way too hard on that song.
We enjoyed ourselves a little bit too much. But once we got to Memphis, we realized that Memphis is... an incredible place, and that we had to experience Memphis because we had a little bit of extra time. Rarely do we come into a city before like 9 p.m. So if you want a Memphis experience, where would you take folks that are new to Memphis, to get some proper barbecue?
I would say for just the sheer experience, you have to go to the Rendezvous downtown like you guys did last night.
That's exactly
right?
what we did. It was amazing. We went into the basement, had the ribs, had the platter, the starting platter with the sausage and the ham and all the things. And then we went out for a proper blues night experience. We went to the Rum Boogie Cafe, and the Rum Boogie Cafe has a little juke joint attached to the side of it where they had some incredible blues bands playing. One guitarist, Brett, may or may not have gotten a selfie with
Memphis Mike. He ate just as much chicken fingers as he played the guitar.
It was incredible.
At the same time.
He literally was eating chicken fingers and french fries while playing the guitar, and he just reached over and it literally, you didn't hear it. It was just smooth. So
I think that's a Memphis ritual to eat chicken fingers before you play guitar.
Well, Keith, I have to ask you, since you're in a band, does the grease from the chicken fingers help the guitar player play better?
Yeah, I play keyboards, but I would imagine that it puts them in the zone for certain songs, I would think,
But I think from Rendezvous, what really shocked me was 8,000 pounds of pork ribs a week. That's what, 4,000 slabs go through that restaurant a week. That's a lot of ribs.
And if I'm totally honest, I did something I always try to do at great restaurants, which is I tried to go in the kitchen. I always like to see it. You've probably seen me do it before, but I really like seeing the magic. I'm a chef at home, but I like to see how people, restaurants do this. And so I tried to get myself in there. I was immediately stopped by a very polite employee that was so polite, in fact, that he was like, what are you doing? I said, I just want to get some pictures of your pit, man. He was like, oh, you can't come back here, but your phone can. So he took my phone back there for me. It was pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you'll be seeing pictures of, I think there had to have been 6,000 ribs on the pit at that time. Like they were stacked up like books on a shelf. It was incredible. So it was a crazy good night. If you're in Memphis, go to Beale Street, go to Rendezvous. Definitely check out Rum Boogie Cafe.
But
go
you
see
missed
Graceland's.
Yeah, exactly, Graceland.
Oh, I forgot.
You missed
okay.
We're right next to it.
We are. So we are actually at the RV park at Graceland. So Graceland is literally like right there. It's so close, in fact, that we can scooter there. And as you know, we're fans of the scooters. And so we broke out our scooters when we arrived and wanted to go get some great pics in front of Graceland. And we rode our scooters right up to the very front door. And we were not well received by the security guards.
I can only
Probably
imagine.
the first time that anyone's done that before. Let's just be.
I will say, so we're, like we said, innovation is our kind of a core theme. It's a belief we have to innovate, and we just innovated by going scooters to the front door of Graceland. I don't know if it's the kind of repeatable innovation, but we certainly had a good time. Got some great videos. Yeah. It was a good time. Let's see, what else did we do yesterday? What did I miss?
Actually, I got something. So we had a really good interview with you yesterday to talk about Smart Store and what Dell Technologies is doing. I still think that was really cool. The parking lot analogy for file and object really hit home. So if you haven't watched that yet, go check it on YouTube. But that's something we did yesterday as well.
It is indeed. I was the guest, actually. I'd gotten your seat. I also want to give a quick plug. If you don't go to bigdatabeard.com and click shop and get your sweet gear, you're missing out.
You got to move the beard, buddy.
Oh, sorry, premise does not equal premises. Sorry, my beard is a little bit in the way. My big data beard's too big.
Actually, I'm wearing that shirt too underneath, so it is a very popular one.
Just check it out. We got lots of gear. All right, so let's have a little fun with my buddy Keith. So Keith Tomes and I go way back. So when I first moved to Alabama from Chicago, working for Dell, actually EMC at the time.
That's right.
I came on board to be an engineer for a product called Isilon, which is a scale-out file, which we talked about yesterday. And Keith was my sales guy that lived in Memphis and covered kind of the western part of Tennessee and the 3 states. Keith, how many years ago has that been? Is that 7 years, 6, 7 years ago?
Actually, I left 3.5 years ago, but I guess you started with me after I'd been going for about a year. So yeah, about 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago.
So one of my favorite things I learned early from Keith was we had to travel to New Orleans on a regular basis. I know it sounds terrible, but it was awesome because Keith taught me that the corporate rate for our company was actually the best rate in New Orleans was with the Ritz-Carlton, which was not terrible. So Keith and I were on a first name basis with the staff at the Ritz-Carlton.
They knew us well there.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I could literally pull up in a rental car that was not my normal car, and they'd be like, "Hey, Mr. Minton, like, how are you? Like Ritz-Carlton, seriously? How do you teach
There's probably not too many guys that are 6'3" and have a beard around here, but
I was gonna say you're pretty memorable.
Oh, well, thanks, buddy. I feel better about myself now. So, Keith, you left Dell from a role that was, in a sales capacity, helping customers solve problems, and you're not a sales guy anymore. You're doing something totally different.
I am.
And one of my favorite things about you that I loved working with you is that yes, you were in a sales role, but dude, you were geeking out. What caused you to get so interested in the kind of the big data technologies and caused you to start down a path that really changed your career?
I always had an interest in it. And, when I hung out, we were the only 2 people I knew at the time that were basically in a sales role.
Yeah.
You as an engineer and me as the rep that covered 5 states. But we were walking around with machine learning books way before any of our peers were. So it's just sort of a natural progression. I mean, I started off writing code back in the 90s, if I can give away my age here.
There you go.
And then sort of made the transition to a pre-sales architect, worked for Hewlett-Packard, worked for NetApp, and then eventually EMC, and did the Isilon thing. The Isilon product was really interesting, though, because if you're an engineer trapped inside a sales rep's body,
which is exactly who you were.
Exactly. You always were looking for something that would give you the best of both worlds. A great product to sell, something that was really in demand, but something that had hooks into technology so that your inner geek could come out and really get it. So, and Isilon at the time was, and still is, one of those products. We had hooks directly for Hadoop so that you could actually do analytics where the data was at rest. And so that was sort of the way I kind of got back into it. Yep. You got a product, you're hanging out with people like from Hortonworks and Cloudera, and eventually that stuff starts rubbing off and you start thinking of all the cool things you can do with it.
Yeah, so you actually were one of the folks that was early on and like taking a lot of these these MOOCs, the massive online open courses.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What was it like to have to go through the process of, one, doing your day job, but then also, 2, like teaching yourself all these kind of cutting edge technology?
Well, the wife wasn't very happy. I mean,
somebody suffers.
Yeah, somebody suffers, but I loved it. I think we both took, I think I can't ever pronounce his last name, but Andrew Inge.
Yeah, Ning. Yeah.
Ning, okay.
Yeah. I think
the machine learning course, which is just, now it's a classic and everybody refers to it, but I think we were some of the first that enrolled in it. And, that led to other courses in, I've just finished the Google data engineering platform specialization, finished that one. Yep. And that, of course, leads you right into another cloud platform called AWS. So, I'm still probably got 5 and probably only active in 3 that I'm in. But, I think in our journey, you always have to learn. Everything's changing. But it's just a really exciting time with the intersection of massive amounts of data that are available to you. You don't have to be or have a PhD in mathematics to actually be a practitioner and come up with some models and do some inferences on some problems that you think are interesting. So it's just a really exciting time to be back in it. So.
I dig it.
Yeah, I just call him Andrew, by the way. I took Andrew's course last year. It was the 12-week course. It was really cool. We a couple of us from Big Data Beer took it, and we did some videos together on it. I thought that was really interesting because I don't have a math background either. So trying to do some of that work while also understanding the theory of it was really cool. I'm looking for a new course, so if you have any recommendations, let me know what I should take next.
I just picked up a subscription to a Cloud Guru. That's really an interesting website. They cover all 3 platforms, or 3 major ones. I'm doing one on biometrics just for the heck of it. It's one I just kind of jump in and out, which is really, really interesting. But
nice. I'd recommend highly Pluralsight courses by our friend Tom Henson.
Yeah.
So Tom Henson's an incredible content creator and trainer on Pluralsight, so check that out.
Yeah, he just came out with a new one too, Splunk.
Yeah, he's got a couple of Splunk sessions out there, so check that out. So, Keith, you left Dell with all this knowledge and this learning and this yearning for kind of doing something more creative with tech. Where did you land? What did you do next?
Well, first of all, it was very hard leaving Dell EMC because just the people I worked with and just the opportunities that were out there, it was really tough. But a senior VP who was a friend of mine from back in the .com days we'd kept up gave me a call. And he said, look, how would you like to come play with IoT, play with the cloud, play with analytics? He was using all the buzzwords that he knew that would light me up. So it was a pretty tough decision, but I decided that I felt like I was getting a little rusty.
Okay.
Really didn't have my hands in the middle of things. So I went to work as a consultant with Hilton.
Okay.
And the project was called Connected Room. And we started with about 4 or 5 guys in a small lab. And now it's one of the largest projects at Hilton. And it's being deployed out into production today. So
Connected Room. So help me understand why. I mean, I think we've all been to hotel rooms lately. We've seen a little bit of this start to get pervasive, and we see a little bit more tech. But why is Connected Room? Why has it gone from being a 4 or 5 person project at Hilton to being something very important to the company?
Connected Room, really, its predecessor was something called Digital Key.
Okay.
And Digital Key allows you today to book your room online, just like other apps allow you to do. It allows you to upgrade. It allows you to change your room. When you're walking into, say, the lobby of a hotel and there's 100 people waiting to check in, it allows you to bypass all that.
Which is very great.
But the nicest thing about it is your H Honors app, your Hilton Honors app, becomes your digital key. So you can walk right up to your room. The room and the beacon inside that door understands who you are, and you're in. So you can basically, hands off, go straight to your room and start to relax. And it was just a highly successful project, and it won a lot of awards and a lot of recognition. So this was sort of the next logical evolution of the digital key. So the idea is always at Hilton is all about hospitality. And it was to enhance the guest experiences is the priority number 1. And number 2, a nice byproduct, if we could drive operational efficiencies for the hotel, that would be a great benefit to the owner. So it's a win-win situation, right? Yeah. So, Connected Room, as the name implies, you have some number of smart devices. We treat the TV as just another IoT device. The TV and entertainment's huge in hospitality.
For sure.
So we had and designed sort of a centralized brain inside the room. We call it an edge controller.
Okay.
And it talks to smart devices, talks to the TV, and it also talks to the mobile app. So today you can do things like put your favorite channels on, and you don't have to weed through 150 channel list.
That's
depending on the region you show up in, those channels show up on your phone. If you travel a lot, that's one benefit. The other is that you can control your devices in the room.
Okay.
And we can also spin the room up to your preferences before you ever get there.
Oh, okay. So it's all about that experience.
It's all about the experience for the guest.
So for someone like me who likes the room at a nice cool 65 degrees, it'll already be there when I get there?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So you opt into it, of course. We are very religious about guest security, and we don't keep any details on you yourself. But if you opt into it, then we know how you like to set things up.
And some personalizations.
Yeah.
That's cool. So going from like this digital key concept to go into this next stage of the connected room, you had to do a lot of work. And I remember talking with you like a couple of years ago, and you were legitimately in a lab tinkering with tech that I was like, well, I'm kind of jealous. Help me understand, like, what were some of the challenges you were trying to overcome and trying to make this vision a reality?
The first thing, I think as a technologist, the first thing you want to do is go and grab every piece of technology you can and start playing with it, right?
Yeah, honey, that's why my office does. See, Keith just gave me an excuse. It's a problem.
Yeah, it's an addiction.
You want to see it all because you can't experiment if you don't have the gear.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did is we kept ourselves from doing that, and we decided first of all that we wanted to define the value, the business value, and the problems that we were trying to solve.
Mm-hmm. Smart.
So we put a lot of thought into it, and we produced, an architectural document that was sort of the core document that everything else was hung off. It was a reference architecture document.
Yep.
And inside that, we did a good job, I think, of defining the problem, the mission for Connected Room. And then we listed all of our assumptions. We came up with a few core table stakes, things that we thought were intrinsic to producing this thing called Connected Room. And it really helped us focus in our direction on narrowing down the number of options that we use for technology and that we started with. So that was the first thing. And then after that, while you're starting to experiment, you're actually going around and kind of selling this internally, getting people excited about it. So it was a twofold approach. And, we start looking at the types of platforms that would help us achieve this type of connectivity from smart devices to a central hub. We started looking at different hardware vendors that would help us out. But we got very specific with what we thought we needed, and then we started building prototypes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that you began with a business case, and that's one thing that I talk with a ton of organizations that are like, oh, tell me about your tech. And I'm like, I don't actually want to talk about the tech until we actually, like, what are you trying to do?
Exactly.
Like, that's incredibly important. And you said you outlined that like in a pretty documented way that clearly identified assumptions. I dig that. So when you started to go to this prototype phase, like, what were some of the challenges your team was trying to overcome? Because I know that, when we think about IoT, and this thing is an IoT hub, basically, we got a bunch of gear in here. We've had to overcome a bunch of challenges of networking and, connection on the road, right? What are some of the challenges that you faced in the context of a connected room?
I think you first of all, you have to make sure that the devices that you're starting to look at really fit what you're trying to actually do, right? We looked at a bunch of different so-called IoT protocols. We came to the conclusion that we really needed to stick with platforms that were open, where you had a large number of developers that you could go, we are a four-man team trying to restart this. So we really needed a platform that we could go find a lot of developers to answer questions quickly and give us some guidance. We focused on a few different protocols. Of course, with the mobile phone, Bluetooth Low Energy was an obvious choice. So the BLE, we looked at Zigbee, which we're using today. We looked at a lot of the HA, so-called home automation, because it's very similar. But it's even extended outside of that now. We're looking at of other tools. But those are some of the challenges, or just making sure that you had an open platform where you could get information quickly, that it lined up with some of the talent that you had internally.
Absolutely.
And that's the way we sort of gained this momentum to get things done quickly.
That's a recipe for success. I love that. You started with the business case, start there,
right?
Iterated into the technology, and you thought through the fact that the technology has to be driven by people at the end
Absolutely.
of the day. That's an incredibly valuable lesson. So I'm curious, what's next for Hilton in the connected room? What are you guys excited about and working on, or maybe are there any interesting emerging technologies that you're thinking about that you're like, oh, this would be pretty sweet to implement?
We're looking very closely at voice. In fact, we can implement it today, but we're very careful with that technology because we won't mention any names, but some platforms are always on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I know we got one in there that keeps going off every time we talk.
Yeah.
The podcast, she's gone off twice.
Let's call her Anastasia. If you talk to Anastasia, see what happens, comes up on your Facebook page.
Exactly.
So we're what a better name.
Yeah, that's right.
We're definitely looking at voice technology. We're looking at extending the value of the connected room, not just internally in the rooms, but across the property. Yeah. Of course, all the events of temperature events and not what people are watching. We don't actually say Corey's watching this. Yeah. But we are looking at the trends of what people are viewing. Yeah. All that information goes back to a cloud platform. Yeah. And we're very deep into analytics on that side of it. So we're just extending that. We're getting eventually into machine learning. Yep. We'll probably use the overused term AI.
Yep.
And
you can't have a conversation today without it.
Absolutely. So yeah,
that's awesome, man. So it's one thing you mentioned though. That's the odd wire that you're running on, which is you want to personalize incredibly so that you have this incredible experience. But you don't want to go over the line, which is that I'm doing too much and it gets creepy. That's a hard line to balance. So what's next for you, man? You got a lot of things you're doing at Hilton. You got this band Walrus. Are you got any shows coming up?
We play once a month at a place called Lafayette. So if you want to go to our Facebook page, Walrus Memphis, you can see when we're playing. So it's a hobby. That's what my first career was as a performance piano major, right? Yeah. So it never gets out of your blood, but I
love it. You literally started as a performance piano major, worked your way through a number of super technology roles, and now I don't know if there's anything more cool technically than building IoT in a connected hotel.
Oh, it's just been a great journey. And I'm just waiting for what's next. So,
dude, I love that. If you take anything away from Keith, it's love learning, always be curious. Don't be afraid to try things and learn things outside of maybe your day job, because that's what will be your next day job potentially. Keith, it's been super fun to talk to you, buddy. It's 1, great to connect with you. 2, great to hear about the connected room. And 3, check out Walrus Memphis and go check out a show, because seeing this guy play, it's incredible. He's quite incredible. He actually taught me about what a stride piano player was.
Yeah, that's right.
And man, we had some good times at what was the place?
Fritzl's.
Oh,
Fritzl's.
I love it. Next time you're in New Orleans, go to Fritzl's, everybody. Thanks for joining the Big Data Beard. Tune in tomorrow. A reminder, we are obviously playing on the weekends. We're doing it every day up until next Saturday. So tune in tomorrow as we come to you live from Dallas, Texas. Got some really exciting guests. We'll see you then.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Breakfast with the Beards. Breakfast with the Beards is part of the Big Data Beard road trip to Splunk's Conf 2019. Be sure to check out all of our great content at bigdatabeard.com, and also follow our podcast in your favorite podcast app simply by searching Big Data Beard. This amazing adventure would not be possible without our incredible sponsors. We thank you, Dell Technologies, VMware, Red River Technologies, Arrow Electronics, and Converging Data for making the road trip to Splunk.conf 2019 possible. We'll see you down the road.